Hi guys, Kleaguenglish here again, and we're here to complete our K-League 2023 predictions in the league. We did the top 6. We'll run through them briefly now. We've got Ulsan at the top, retaining their championship. Jeonbuk second, Incheon United third, FC Seoul fourth. And then we have, let's see if I can remember, Jeju fifth, and Pohang squeaking into the top 6. Shinjin-ho will be a big miss for them. I'm not entirely convinced that 6th will be their position. I think they could finish lower. So we're going to do the bottom half. We're going to put this out on YouTube again. We're going to make it into the podcast. We're very close to the start of the season, so look out for all that other content that we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing the Twitter Spaces again. We're going to do that kind of more regularly again. I'll kind of maybe try to set a date, maybe like Monday to recap, and maybe like a Wednesday or Thursday to kind of preview the games. We'll also be talking about kind of predictions of the games, like who we think we're going to win. We're going to look at the kind of odds and as well, and talk about kind of just K-League in general. So join us for that stuff. All right, on to the predictions. So we've got 7th. We've got Gangwon FC. They had a very solid season last year, finishing in the top 6. Che Yong-soo, the coach, quite pragmatic in his approach. They play counter-attack with 2 really pacey and really talented players in Yang Hyun-jun, who might even leave to go to Europe this season, maybe in the summer, and Kim Dae-won, who was also linked to Jeonbuk in the off-season here. They've also got Dino Islamolovic, or Movic, you say that, coming back from his injury. He looked quite good at the beginning of last season before he broke his kind of Achilles, or ruptured, or whatever you do, the Achilles heel. So he'll be coming back, so they might be a little bit more exciting to watch. They haven't really added that much to the team, but I think they'll be solid again, and I think 7th is quite achievable for them. They'll be splitting their time between Chuncheon, which is the home of Son Heung-min. He has his academy out there as well. And also Gangneung, which is by the sea, and that's where the 2018 Winter Olympics was held. I haven't seen Gangwon play at home, so I'll hopefully get out there and maybe show you guys a little bit about the place as well. So that's 7th. In 8th, we're going Daegu FC, and they've got Cezine would be the main reason. The GOAT, and they've had a very busy off-season, signing Brazilian after Brazilian after Brazilian after Brazilian, which is allowed because the rules have changed. So you can now play, you now have 5 plus 1 foreign players in the K-League, and the plus 1 refers to the kind of Asian Champions League, the AFC, who is Keita Suzuki, who doesn't actually play for Daegu. Really, he's just a reserve. But they do have lots of Brazilians. Okay. But you can't play all of them at the same time. You gotta make subs, so 1 Brazilian for another. Sounds quite good, really. 3 is the maximum you can start with. I've only gone 8th because they would be higher if you're looking at the front part of the team, and Cezine, of course, did I mention? But at the back, they've lost a few players, including quite a bit of squad depth at centre back. Jung Tae-wook, their giant giraffe at the back, he's moved on to Jeonbuk, and they haven't really replaced him. They brought in the 1 centre back, but he might not even play. So I think Daegu had some problems at the back last season, and I don't really expect that to change too much. I think they'll still struggle from that part. They've got a lovely stadium down there in Daegu. It's really got a fantastic atmosphere around it. The bottom of the stadium's filled with kind of bars and chicken and more chicken and some bars and a bit of chicken, and the club shop. It's quite a good atmosphere. Get down there if you can. Hopefully they'll be able to fill it out their stadium, which is a bit of a rarity in the K-League, but Daegu can do that. It's only 12,000 down there. So they're in 8th. We're gonna go 9th. Is a tricky one. 9th, 10th. I'm gonna say Suwon. Okay, there's 2 Suwon teams in the league. My answer is Suwon. Okay, can't separate them really. We'll talk about Suwon Blue Wings first. If I have to choose, I'm going to put them in ninth, but I'm not entirely convinced by it. They lost Oh Hyung-gu, of course, the Glasgow Celtic, in the off season. He's their U22 player, which is quite important in the K-League because you need to start one in order to get 5 subs. They don't really have one who has been playing another U22. They didn't really want to sell him. It's quite a drawn out transfer process over the winter. So they brought in Mulic from Songnam, who got relegated. He could actually do quite well for them. They've got 2 quite big lads up front now. The manager does like that kind of style. They brought in Kim Bo-kyung, who from Jeonbuk, the former Crystal Palace player, who deserves to be starting more. They've got a former Serie A player in Costi. So their signings have been fairly decent, but I'm not entirely convinced by their style. I think they relied a lot on Oh Han-gu for 1, and 2 on set pieces last season. EKJ was the kind of set piece champion, and Suwon obviously scored the most goals from corner kicks ever in the K-League actually last season. But I'm not convinced that they can remedy the rest of that and repeat it. So I've gone Suwon 9th, but I could easily change that with 10th, which is Suwon FC, just across the city really. Their stadium's a lot uglier, a lot not as nice certainly. If you go there, you sit on these kind of cold chairs and your feet doesn't touch the ground, so you feel a bit like a toddler. They've got like different noises from each corner of the ground. It's very, wasn't a nice experience, for me. So if I had a choice, I would say Suwon to go down would be better for the league. But they do have, amazing attacking talent, probably up there in the best in the league. You've got Lee Sung-woo, former Barcelona and Verona player, and then you've got Lars Velvik, who's played injured last season a lot and should be able to score more goals. They've signed Yoonbik Garam, the former Asian Champions League MVP in 2020 when Ulsan won it. He scored probably the best goal of the season last year when he was at Jeju, away to Pohang. They've got Murillo, they've got Finnish international in the cellar. They've got a lot of great talent in the attacking part of the team. At the back, not so much. They've completely revamped it. If they're playing 4 at the back, they've changed 5 of them. Jackson is the only one to actually stay. It's not been through choice. A few of those boys have left because of the military service that they're doing. Park Min-gyu. And then Lee Young, the right back, has went back to Jeonbuk from loan. Their goalkeeper Park Jae-bong has had surgery actually and won't be able to play at the start of the season. They brought in No Dong-gun from the other Suwon. He'll be challenging for a spot with Lee Bong-young as well. So I'm not convinced that they'll be able to kind of balance the two. I don't see any balance. I think that in the midfield, their depth isn't that strong either. I don't see how they can kind of manage. They could win every game for free, Kevin Keegan style, but they could lose 10-7 as well. So I'm going to put them in 10th. Okay, we've got down to the bottom 2. I'm sure you can guess. The bottom 2 are actually the top 2 from K2. The second division last season. It's a bit boring. Disappointed in myself, to be honest. I would honestly change it, but I don't want that egg on my face again. Gwangju, I think, can survive. If they finish 11th, they'll be able to play in playoff against the K2 teams. Same goes for 10th. I think Gwangju style is quite modern. They play out from the back. They do a lot of positional changes. They've got a lot of talent in their team actually. Park Han-bin is a decent player. They've got Ji-sung, who's going to be one to watch in the league on the left wing. Fantastic young talent who has been linked to moves to abroad as well. I quite like them from what I've seen of them. But they've kind of got a lot of internal issues in the team. In the club. I think they could end up changing their style, which I don't think would benefit them. They could go more direct, or they could kind of rip it all up and maybe even sack the manager, which would be I think a mistake. And those things are quite liable, capable of happening really. In the first season back after 1 year in K2. They did go down the previous year, partly due to like kind of their incompetence off the pitch as well. Having used up too many kind of sub slots in one game, they ended up having to forfeit that game, and they lost 3-0 as a result. So I think on the whole, Guangzhou likely to maybe even go down again. Our last team is the worst team in the league based on this table, and they're certainly the worst kit this season. They just released it and it's pretty horrible. It looks like a 90s kit, but without all the good sponsors and all the good stuff that you might get in the 90s. It just looks very rubbish, really. This is Daejeon and a Citizen, who kind of the money bags of K2, but struggled to kind of live up to kind of expectation. But they did manage to beat the Army side last year in the playoffs and came up. They've lost a few players, and I think there's a little question mark over the kind of temperament and the managers. He started a press conference saying, "I'm not angry." The other day, it strikes me as quite maybe an unsettled camp, or an unhappy camp. Even Cho Yu-min, who went off with the World Cup squad, was captain previously, but isn't captain anymore. That happens quite regularly in K-League, but I'm not entirely sure that's a good decision. He's a born leader, that guy, and he's been captain at Suwon FC before, and I think his leadership was a large part of him getting into the Korean World Cup squad as well. So they've lost a couple of players. Wei-in has also left, and we had Masa Ishida kind of not playing that much last season for them as well, despite probably being one of the best players. They brought in kind of new strikers. They've changed a lot of things. They still haven't actually completed their transfer of business. So it just looks a little bit kind of unready at Daejeon. The manager chops and changes a lot with systems and players. I'm not entirely sure that they'll have what it takes to stay up this season. Okay, that's our predictions. You send me yours. We've got the league starting very soon. Very excited. Send us a message. We'll be on Twitter and all the usual stuff. I'll be posting on Substack our kind of predictions in there as well. So have a read of that if you prefer the reading stuff. Okay. See you guys.